And welcome everyone to the 31st. Whoops, just a minute. I have to get my sound check here. Okay, I'm gonna have a different. Just 1 second. I think that'll do it. Give me a sound check, please. On anybody? Okay,
How do we get my
that
son to do
works.
a sound check?
That worked.
What is that logo in process?
Okay, perfect. Let's keep it at that then. Okay, let's start. Thank you, everybody, for being here for the 31st Spanish Speaking Knowledge Seekers Workshop of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. And we're here today with Mario Navarro, who's got a presentation on dynamic reactors in automobiles. And I think we're ready to go ahead with that. Are you there, Enrique and Mario? Okay, go ahead. Oh, okay. Thanks, Joseph.
Okay. Mario, are you ready, Mario? Mario, ¿estás ahí?
Sí, estoy listo.
Listo, pues ya arráncate. Mario, ya puedes empezar, ¿eh?
Muy bien. A ver, aquí. ¿Alguien me va a ir cambiando las páginas?
Sí. Next slide, please, Rick.
Ok, muy bien. Bueno, pues vamos a iniciar por el principio, por la primera página. Y para empezar a hacer la grabación, yo creo,
Sí, ya está.
Ya está, ok, pues un saludo a todos. Mi nombre es Mario Navarro. Yo soy de la Baja California Sur, México, y vengo a presentar mis experimentos y mis experiencias con reactores dinámicos en autos. En este caso, el esquema que están viendo ahí en pantalla, pues es un sistema instalado dentro del filtro de aire o dentro de la caja del filtro del aire en ese caso es de mi carro. Consta está elaborado con un ventilador de PC, el cual tiene una pelotita de ping-pong rellena con GANS CO2 y dos bobinas de alambre nano revestido. Las bobinas de alambre nano revestido, una van en sentido horario y la otra en sentido antihorario. El positivo va en antihorario y negativo va en horario. Están puestas de una manera, eh, digamos, en paralelo a la corriente del carro. Estas mismas van conectadas a un relay, de tal modo que cuando abro el switch del carro, empieza a funcionar el ventilador.
Ok, déjame explicar en
Sí.
inglés, por favor. Okay, Mario is trying to explain that this is a dynamic reactor. He used the air filter of his car, and he changed this configuration. Instead of the air filter in the place, he put this reactor. He used the PC. Sorry. He- Thank you. I was saying that he used a PC fan ventilator, and he put it a ping pong ball filled it with cans in the middle. He put he connected the two cables with the nano coated to a relay, and when he started the car, it all the system starts to function. Adelante, Mario. Next slide, please.
Bueno, pues aquí el cuerpo de admisión, es decir, la caja donde va el filtro del aire, fue rociado con gas CO2 sin lavar. Y el reactor se conectó a un relay, el cual enciende el reactor al mismo tiempo que arranca el motor del carro. Y el esquema ahora que se ve ahí es un esquema pues ya visto de perfil, el otro era visto, digamos, desde arriba. Y es un esquema ya visto de perfil, cómo está colocada la pelotita de ping pong y que tiene 30 mililitros de gas CO2 en su interior.
Okay, déjame. This is an upper view. The ping pong ball, it's behind the fan, and it's filled with 30 milliliters of CO2 gas, and you can see it. It's how it connected to the relay. He sprayed this system with CO2 gas. Adelante, next slide, please.
Perdón, Joseph.
Sí.
Es la caja. Aquí le puedes explicar lo que se roció con CO2 es la caja del aire, del filtro de aire.
Okay. Well, he sprayed all the filter box with CO2 gas. You can see it here. This is how he connected. Mario, adelante, puedes explicar.
Okay, esta es una imagen real del reactor dentro del cuerpo del filtro del aire, el cual fue previamente rociado con gas CO2.
You can see that how it is connected. All the system, all the admission or the intake, air intake, is spreaded with CO2 gas, and how it is connected. You can see it in the photo that it is working. The fan is working, and the ping pong ball is how do you say, spinning. Adelante. Next slide, please.
Ok, en ese mismo automóvil se instalaron 3 reactores dentro del maletero. Los reactores tienen la misma configuración del gas CO2, es decir, 30 mililitros en cada pelotita, y la conexión eléctrica igual a la del filtro del aire. Y es el esquema que se observa en pantalla.
Okay. He installed this system also in the trunk of his car. It's the same system that it is installed in the air filter intake, but it is this three dynamic configuration is installed in the trunk of his car. Also, the electrical system is the same as in the air intake, also sprayed. Next slide, please.
A ese mismo automóvil se le agregó en la batería 2 bobinas de alambre nanorrevestidos encapsuladas con gas CO2, con la configuración descrita, y es la siguiente: bobina antihorario positivo, bobina horario negativo. Eso que se observa en las fotos son unas bobinas de alambre nanorrevestido, las cuales encapsulé en unas jeringas de esas para inyectar a la gente. Y las rellené con gas CO2 y las taponé y luego las atornillé en la batería del carro, así como se observa en la foto de abajo.
Okay. In the battery, he made some coils. Also, ¿me puedes explicar, perdón, el positivo es antihorario?
Sí.
Counterclockwise, it's in the positive container, and it's clockwise in the negative container. he put these coils inside these containers, and he connected to the battery, as you can see it in the photo. Next slide, please.
Agregué 30 mililitros de gas.
Perdón, Mario, perdón. Te faltó explicar un poquito cómo están lo de las jeringas.
Sí, yo les puse que son contenedores, porque no sé cómo se dice jeringas en inglés.
Syringe. Son
Okay.
medical syringe. It's interesting.
Okay, the medical syringe, the containers are the medical syringe.
Syringe.
Uh-huh. In the past one slide, please. No, the past.
Previous one.
Yeah, no,
it shows the coil inside the syringe, and it's filled with CO2 gas, and it is tapped here. Está tapada aquí.
Oh, it's sealed. Uh-huh.
It's sealed, and then it is connected. Mario, tú puedes decir la importancia de la orientación de las jeringas, si me haces favor.
Ok, sí, este es un detalle importante porque así como las tenía yo en la foto, pues me funcionaba. En un momento más voy a explicar qué es lo que hacía, ¿no? Pero llegó un momento en que yo las dirigí, digamos, la punta que no está conectada, pues las dirigí hacia el motor. No que apuntaran una en contra de la otra como está en esa foto, sino que los doblé y las apunté hacia el motor y el resultado fue mucho mejor.
Okay, well, the stream that is not connected to the battery of the, ¿cómo se dice? Enrique Jeringa. Well, the stream that is not connected, Mario realized that it's of better work if you point it to the engine, not like you see it in the photo that they are pointing to each other. So he blended the connection and pointed the other extreme to the engine. He says that the orientation is very important for obtaining better results, which will be explained in a few slides.
Así es.
¿Algo más, Enrique?
Adelante, siguiente. Next slide, please.
Okay.
Luego dice, ahí agregué 30 mililitros de gas CO2 dentro del radiador del automóvil y rocié con agua de gas CO2 el radiador por fuera, el motor, las llantas y la tapa de la gasolina. Asimismo, agregué 30 mililitros de gas CO2 en el combustible.
Okay. He filled the gasoline tank with 30 milliliters of CO2 gas. You can see it. He also put 30 milliliters of gas in the radiator, and he sprayed the radiator, the engine, and the tires with CO2 gas. Also, all the engine outside, he sprayed. Mario sprayed with gas. ¿Algo más que estoy omitiendo, Enrique?
Adelante.
Next slide, please.
Ok, primero que nada quisiera agregar algo a lo anterior. Todo esto que mencioné lo fui haciendo yo poco a poco. Primero le puse el gas en el radiador, después se me ocurrió rociar todo el motor, después se me ocurrió rociar el radiador por dentro, por fuera. No fue de una sola vez. Ahora, Todo esto lo hice en un solo automóvil que es el mío, pero era un automóvil que ya se iba a cambiar, ya iba para la chatarra, pues ya no se iba a usar, es un carro que le hice todos esos experimentos, sabiendo yo que si le echaba a perder algo o le pasaba algo malo al motor o algo, pues no había ningún problema, pues el carro
Para el yonke.
ya iba para el yonque, pues no tenía ningún problema.
Okay, well, let me explain. Déjame explicar. Mario says that he wants. It's important to know that all the things he been doing to this car were not at the same time. All the things were done by step and not at the same time. They were he was trying. Filling cans with the radiator and see what happened, and then spray the engine and see what happened. All the things were done but separately, and in the process. He wants to let you know that the car was ready to be destroyed to the junk yard. This car was for experimental proposal, and he wanted to know what happens to this car. Results will be later told. Adelante, next slide, please.
Yo creo que nos pasamos la anterior.
¿La anterior?
Sí,
¿No? ¿Quieres tú a la anterior otra vez?
Sí, por favor.
Okay, he wants to explain something. The past one, please. He forgot to explain something.
Ok, aquí les voy a leer primero lo que dice, ¿no? Se instalaron las jeringas en decenas de carros diferentes, siempre con resultados positivos. Gracias, Mr. Keshe. Ok, quiero explicar un poco lo que están viendo ahí en la pantalla, que son diferentes fotos que he tomado en diferentes carros que se han instalado las jeringuillas, a amigos, familiares y vecinos de aquí del pueblo donde yo vivo. Y les quiero decir pues que lo he hecho sin costo alguno. Hay quien me ha regalado algo, hay quienes hasta dinero me han dado, pues, pero no los he cobrado yo nada. O sea, no los tengo a la venta ni lo hago con fines de lucrar. Lo menos que se puede hacer es ponerle las bobinas, como se observa en la foto de superior izquierda, la bobina nano revestida en la terminal de la batería y apuntar la punta que queda sobrante, apuntarla hacia el motor y ya se obtienen algunos resultados en la conducción del carro.
Okay.
Perdón, ¿no quieres decir cuáles son esos resultados? Es un buen momento.
Viene en la siguiente página.
Ok.
Okay. He wants to, Mario wants to say that after the experiment with his car and after the results he obtained, he started to implement this installation, the coil in the batteries, or all that you can see in the photo in other cars at no cost. He wanted to share this knowledge and experiments with other friends and family, well, it seems that the results, which will be explained in the next slide, are good ones. ¿Algo más que agregar, Enrique? Por ahí estoy omitiendo algo, creo.
Sí. Well, Mario says that the least configuration that he has been installing in tens of cars is the one on the left, on the upper corner, left upper corner. which is just the coil pointing outside to the motor, not like in the photo. And that brings some results. But in other cases, like in the lower photos, there's the coil embedded in the syringe, and it's a much better result. And he's proud to announce that he's doing it, and everything is coming out very well. It seems to be a good solution. And that's good to know for the Spanish-speaking people, to know that this is enough for improving the behavior of the automobile, as he's going to explain next. Okay, next slide.
Este mismo experimento, pero a menor escala, se realizó en más de una decena de autos más. Los resultados son un incremento de fuerza que se nota de inmediato al conducirlo, asimismo un menor esfuerzo en las pendientes. En la mayoría de los casos, las personas notaron la suspensión más suave. En mi caso particular, veo mi automóvil igual que siempre, es decir, cuando yo me paro delante de mi carro, al lado de mi carro, se ve normal, pero al ponerme al volante noto como si fuese más alto. Esto quiere decir que cuando yo me siento en el carro, al volante, pareciera que estuviera más alto que lo que es, pues es un automóvil y se siente como si fuera una camioneta. Y la línea del cofre se curva en el horizonte, es decir, que estoy viendo por el vidrio del carro y se ve como si el vidrio estuviera defectuoso o estuviera curvado. Vale la pena resaltar que tenemos que como 5 años con ese carro, lo conozco muy bien, pues, y ahora que me subo al carro, mi hija, la menor, pues lo notó luego, oye, papá, ¿qué le hiciste? Me dijo, está más alto. Y como que se ve curvado, vas caminando por la calle y se va viendo como curvo, no sé si me explico. También noté en mi caso la suspensión mucho más suave y el motor más potente. Eso como potenciador, los resortes, las bobinas. Pero para lograr un verdadero ahorro de combustible se debe de atrasar el tiempo de encendido. También es importante, quiero recalcarlo, que si se le pueden poner un aumento al sensor de oxígeno y atrasar el tiempo de ignición del carro, realmente van a ahorrar mucho combustible. ¿Por qué? Porque seguir los mismos pasos que se siguen cuando se pone un reactor de HHO, de hidrógeno, los mismos consejos, calzar el sensor de oxígeno y atrasar el tiempo de ignición. Y ahí se logra un verdadero ahorro. En los gases de escape, pues no noté yo ningún cambio de ningún tipo.
Ya. Ok. ¿Quieres que traduzca, verdad?
Por favor.
Okay. Okay. The results obtained by all these experiments that Mario Navarro has done to his car are the same. He noticed an increase in the power of the car, of the engine. Uphill, the car needs minor force than before, and the suspension was noted to be smoother in this case. He also noted that at the wheel, he feels the car taller, and like the car feels taller and in comb to the horizon. Well, he says that he didn't notice any improvement in the gas consumption, but if you want to do it or to fill it, you have to delay the timing and to make some changes in the oxygen sensor. ¿Alguna cosa que por ahí se me está escapando, Enrique?
No, hay que explicar bien qué quiere decir esto del retraso y lo que dijo él de ponerle una extensión en el tubo del oxígeno para que llegara un poquito más tarde el oxígeno y que ese es un
Hello, can we come in?
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? What do you do with the timing? Because this is the part of the other research on other part.
Yeah.
What does the timing do? Because I would like to know why does it affect the timing?
Well, Mario says that if you leave the car with no change in the timing, you cannot see any gas consumption in any improvement in the gasoline consumption.
Yeah,
So,
but in the time, you see there, if you can ask him, we got to the point that we cannot change it. It's just totally, it's got to the point that we cannot touch it anymore. It's gone to the maximum.
okay.
So what's the next step? How can we change the performance? We see 60-70% reduction in fuel. But what's the next step? How can we change it to go into a fuel-less engine or maybe 10 or 15% fuel?
Okay. ¿Nos puedes explicar mejor, Mario, la cuestión del ahorro de combustible y el tiempo? Porque para que quede claro.
Sí, lo que pasa es que, por decir, el sensor de oxígeno es como una bujía que va atornillada en el tubo de escape de los vehículos. Y ahí se registra la cantidad de oxígeno que pasa por el escape. Y el controlador computarizado de la inyección de combustible lo lee. Entonces, si la mezcla, por decir, contiene muy poco oxígeno, lo que hace es mandar menos combustible, empobrecer la mezcla para que esté trabajando bien el carro. Entonces lo que hacemos es quitar el sensor de oxígeno y ponerle un aumento, por decir, es como un tubito roscado que se pone. Hay unos aumentos que venden para las bujías. Ese mismo aumento se le pone. Entonces, ¿qué va a hacer el carro? Va a leer muy poco oxígeno porque va a estar más retirado del paso de los gases. Entonces automáticamente el carro, el fuel injection te va a mandar menos combustible. Pero como tienes más potencia, como lograste incremento de potencia con los reactores, no importa que el carro te esté mandando menos combustible. Vas a tener más potencia y vas a estar gastando menos combustible. De otro modo, no puedes engañar a la computadora del carro.
Yeah. Okay. I will try to explain it. The oxygen sensor it is installed in the exhaust of the engine. It reads the amount of oxygen that it's comes out from the engine. So if you leave it like the factory, it will read that a lot. It will read a lot of oxygen, and the mix will be richer in gasoline. So you have to put an extension, which are for sale in auto parts shops, and to put it in the sensor in order to the reading of less oxygen, which will be translated as it needs less gasoline. So you will have the same amount of power with less gasoline. This is respect to the oxygen sensor. I will try to, well, Mario will try to explain it regardless to the timing. Enrique, ¿omití algo?
No, creo que lo dijiste bien, nomás enfatiza el efecto de que por haber subido la potencia no necesita tanta gasolina.
Yeah.
Pero la computadora necesita que le digas a través de, con esa extensión, de que lea menos para que mande menos. Ahí está el ahorro.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the effect that will have the computer is the computer will read less oxygen quantity, which will mean the engine needs less gasoline to the pistons. This will translate in less gasoline and less consumption. But since you have all the guns in the battery and in the radiator all sprayed in the engine, the power output of the engine will be higher, so you will compensate the consumption of gasoline with more power in the engine. But you have to do it by putting adding the extension to the sensor of oxygen. Otherwise, you don't have any way to reprogram the computer.
The computer.
The computer. Ok, Mario, ¿quieres explicar lo del tiempo, por favor?
Ok, sí, cuando nosotros notamos que que hablo de nosotros, pues en un taller mecánico que fui, ¿no? El mecánico y yo, notamos que al hacerle pruebas, vimos eso de lo del sensor de oxígeno y también vimos que había una preignición en el motor. Entonces, quería decir que de algún modo estaba enriquecido el combustible y detonaba antes de tiempo. O sea, estaba detonando, haciendo la explosión dentro del motor antes del tiempo que debería de ser. Trataba de detonar antes de que estuviera cerrada la válvula, digamos. Entonces, tuvimos que atrasar el tiempo para el tiempo de ignición, el tiempo, retardar la chispa un poco para que estuviera perfectamente sincronizado la ignición con el combustible que en este caso le estaba entrando, que no sabemos qué es, o sea, nada más sabemos que había una preignición y se le atrasó el tiempo para corregirla. ¿Por qué era la preignición? Por un combustible, digamos, como si fuera más potente o de más octanaje o algo así, pero pues no sabemos qué es lo que quería yo preguntarle a Mr. Keshe, ¿no? O sea, ¿es plasma? ¿Qué? Eso es lo que no sé.
Okay. Well, regardless to the timing of the engine, Mario says that he noted with his mechanic that the explosion of the fuel was earlier with with it means that it was richer. He thinks it was richer in explosive in octanes. Let's say it like in octanes. So he needed to delay the timing of the engine, of igniting the engine, in order to put it synchronized with the timing of the piston. He doesn't know why. That's a question he has. Why is it that he needed to change the timing? That's a question he has. He only noticed that he needed to change timing. ¿Algo que quieras explicar, Enrique?
What we see is that
Yes.
energy delivered by the plasma creates a condition that it replaces the fuel. So what we understand, because this is what I've been asking the mechanics who are doing these tests, we are at the stage that we have no more, we're trying to test the engine, cars without engine. We're trying to test the cars with the engine, with all the pistons and everything taken out in another test. What we see is that the plasma energy converts into the energy of the plasma of the fuel or the gasoline. So it doesn't have an ignition time, but it delivers the energy as it needs on the time and the point of demand from the engine. Would the piston position creates a different condition? We don't know. And so instead of actually delivering the energy of, let's say, fuel, the plasma delivers the energy. And the way we saw in the presentation in Rome, where we connect the AC and the DC and 210 and 110 or 220 and 110 on the same panel, somehow we're trying to the energy conversion from plasma to motion is done without the need. The way we see it, maybe it's the wrong way to explain it, but in a mechanical condition, if you can go on a screen, can we go on the camera in the teaching? If we go on the way we see it with the blue box, the power unit, is that the phases of the current, where we tap in the supply to, delivers or encourages the release of plasma. It seems that the plasma, again connected in a piston position, does the same thing. It encourages the same kind of release of plasma. So when the plasma is released into the engine, there is no need for the fuel. So instead of delivering fuel, you deliver packages of the plasma, which is decided by the compression in a piston. It looks like, if it's a 4-cylinder system, how they positioned and in the motion. So we see 40–60% reduction in the fuel. It's not that you reduce fuel. You use the energy of the plasma, even if it's the wire coils, because you're releasing it, that compensates for fuel consumption. Is it the knocking of the engine? Is it the spark plugs? Because we've seen on the spark plugs breakages on the, what do you call it, the insulation boxes on them, the white pieces on. So here in an electrical system, we rely on the phase change, which seems we get the same phase change by the position and the movement of the pistons. That's where the energy comes. Then that potential difference or the resolution of the crankshaft releases has a lot of energy, and you compensate through this with that enhancing the release, exactly like the phases. I keep on saying your power supply, where you connect your system, is to use the phase change. It seems that the engine uses, that's where your timing is out. Because if you put the timing, you need so much fuel. Now the plasma is releasing the fuel, the rotation is achieved without any consumption. So you get a kick of the plasma release even on this nano coated. It'll be interesting if you use the nano coating and put a GaNs on top of it and then use it. You'll find out the performance goes to about 60 to 80% because now you deliver more energy. This is where it should not be strange why you're getting reduction in fuel. The reduction is not a reduction, is you change the fuel. Here you use a physical material, or what do you call it, diesel or petrol. Here your fuel is still the same, it's a plasma. So this is what you're doing. And this little nanomaterial carries so much energy, it can feed you for centuries.
Mm-hmm.
So the problem is not the question of timing, it's just now, if you time your timing to the energy of the plasma, not the energy of the fuel, you'll find out you need a new timing, and it doesn't set in your system. We see it. We are testing with our guys in the background. They don't understand it, but I don't push it till they understand what they're doing. Is that we have taken the engine off. We have tested the car without engine in two different occasions in different locations in research teams, and we see different performances. If go back on the pictures which we released years ago on the Keshe Foundation, when we showed the car to the Belgian authorities, has no engine, has no central shaft, and is no fuel tank. What do? You convert the energy of the plasma into rotation of the wheels. So you connect one side to the wheel and you connect one side to the body of the car. And in so many ways, what you will learn, if you think the right way, the car goes the right way. Most of the mechanics don't understand this. To the positive or to the negative, and you connect the body of the car to another point. You create a point of transfer. At the beginning, it won't work. But if you leave it long enough, you start nano-coating everything. Is there a problem? No problem anymore. So do not say why your timing is out, because you have a new fuel. Your fuel now is the plasma. And a fuel has no timing. It's continuous. It just depends where the peak, if you look at it, it's like this. Where your peak sits, you're still going through a sinusoidal. Or if you want a double peak and double trough. So this is how it works. And it's very puzzling. A lot of you keep on asking questions. I lose fuel consumption. You don't reduce fuel consumption. Now you have replaced the fuel with a much more powerful plasma, and a nano coating is enough. In fact, if you go deep enough into, I've lost the cap, it's going to be a problem. If you go deep enough in the understanding, the answer sits very closely to this. You Spanish don't come and teach and go. You better learn a little bit this time. They come, they talk, and they go. And then we have to say, what did they say? Now we teach a little bit At least we know a little bit, not much. This is the car. You put your battery and a nano coating, and this is your engine. You have forgotten one main principle. You've forgotten the most important thing behind nanomaterial. Go back to British, what I call Farnborough, where the British government scientists released that the nanomaterial, the way we produce it, absorb 99.999% of all radiation. Every fuel, every stroke releases energy. The size of the nanomaterial or the way you do the coil, understand this little chap has the potential to absorb a lot of energy. So partially the energy from there, it comes from the friction and everything else which is inside. In a way, when you rotate and you convert part of the plasma energy into motion, it's like when the sun hits the earth. Part of the energy becomes the light, and then the other part becomes, then what do you call it, nitrogen. Here we see the nitrogen and the light. We don't see the other parts which are releasing friction. And these nanomaterials collect whatever is converted, which is in particles of packages of plasma. So your nanomaterial is continuously fed by the motion of the system itself. It's a total system. You got to look at the totality from A to Z, not just pick up and look at one side, say, how come the timing changes? How come we reduce fuel? You don't reduce fuel. The only reason you see reduction in the fuel is because now you're using a new fuel, you call it plasma. Because you don't see it, you fool yourself. It hasn't changed. Conservation of energy in plasma is constant. The only thing you've done, you changed fuel. And because to you is a little wire and you don't understand or never understood the reality work of the nanomaterial, then it's a puzzle. This little thing has a lot of meaning. And to you lot, it's just something you do and that's it. Because you're too materialistic, you're too physical. If you understand the totality of it, now you see how you convert energy. Would it be the same if you drop a coil in your fuel tank? Would the change in the fuel come just by a coil instead of being on the battery is in the fuel tank? Some of you put some gas in, and then I tried to explain when Alex was here, but he never understood. You do not save energy, you don't reduce. The reality is conservation of mass. You have, let's say, 1,000-kilo car, and it's going at 30 kilometers an hour. This is the energy is needed to make that movement. Doesn't matter, you carry it with a donkey, with fuel, with jet fuel, a plasma. If you lost or you made reduction in the fuel, it has to come from somewhere. And you have a new supply, new method of releasing energy, and it's called nano coating. And a nano coating needs a new timing, if you want to call it. But the time doesn't exist in plasma. It's continuous. That's why your timing goes out. We've seen this for a long time with other tests. And then they keep on tuning. I was talking about this a couple of weeks ago with one of our guys. The mechanic, they've given up. There is no more they can go. Because plasma has no timing. So what do you see? Now that we come further, and next week we release the, what do you call, the car unit, you find out you can drive a super tanker with it. Something you got to realize. We say the bigger polluters of the environment are cars. But the bigger polluters of the environment, worse than cars, actually put more pollution in the car in the environment, are tankers and freight liners. Because with the car, we clean as much as we can. These guys use a raw material. If you've been in the oil business, you don't know what they use. You don't want to see what comes out of these machines. If we can put a unit in super tankers engines, then you see the real conservation, the real energy. There is a say in the oil industry, the amount of pollution which the freight liners are putting in the atmosphere is nothing compared to what the cars are doing. It's huge. We don't refine it. We don't refine none of this. Sulfur, phosphor, whatever is at the bottom of the pit burns in the engine. Go and look about the marine fuel. Marine fuel is the bottom of the marine. Actually, what is left at the bottom of the oil is in there. So now you have to understand what would happen if we use these units in marine. What's the energy saving it will be? What will be the consumption fuel on these? You do not change anything. All you've done, as with the way you feed yourself and you see I drank a cup of tea or a water from the unit and I don't feel hungry, is because you replace the food with the energy which is digestible direct. It's the same with your cars. You have replaced the energy from one way to another. It's if you actually, I was explaining this very recently, you have now hybrid cars, electric motors, which partially they drive on the car, partially on the fuel. Now you have a hybrid plasma system. This is a hybrid system. You use plasma when it's available, you use the engine when it's available. It's a new technology, but you have to understand the process of it. It's a new cycle in development of energy. You don't use and you don't have to use, you have added. Now we see, we were in front of the hotel on Saturday. We saw a silent car came and passed us, the taxi. These are the new hybrids. Motor engine, electric, with when it's not the fuel. Now, if you come and put one of these coils on the hybrid, you have a fuel, you have electric, and you have a plasma systems now. You'll find out some problems here, maybe little of the fuel reduction here, but if you totally cover it, you'll find out you go for longer. Because the new technology which comes out next week with your cars, and in a way, what you're doing with the nanomaterial, you have created a new cycle of energy in the structure of the fuel. So now you have two fuels. You just because you winded the coil, you're happy, it just does something. It doesn't do anything. You have a continuous, look where you put the battery, where you look, where you put your charger. This is your coil, sorry, this is your battery. You put a coil here and you put a coil here. This thing continuously creates a chemical reaction inside it. This thing continues to produce an AC/DC. And now you have put a magnetic field detector here, absorber of energy. What does it do? You're continuously, anything not used, you're using. And then you're releasing it as a plasma into the system that now we have introduced a new cycle of energy system. And in a very near future, why do you need to create rotation by movement of the cylinder, where in the electric motors, we have the rotation by the motor. What about if you connect the plasma direct? We know in nano codes, So in a very short time, where we see our research going, we can use electric cars which go indefinitely for the rest of its life. You don't need to charge. And the only reason for it is you put a plasma reactor to become the energy supply for the rotation. And it's indefinite. It's not 9 kilowatt, 100 kilowatt. You try to measure kilowatt by the mass you carry or the size of the engine. But in reality, plasma is millions of kilowatts if you know how to tap into it. So the new generation of the systems, which you lot are getting used to, we are introducing a new hybrid system here, because this is more or less going to die. Because now you feed the plasma into the electric motor. Electric motor, all of them gets nano coated. You work on a superconductor circuit around the car. These new hybrids is what you have to come to understand. And when you see why the timing changes, because you have a mixture of fuel, you have to adjust it to 2 fuels, not 1. Because I was going, and I'll go into more detail next week. Next week, when we release the reactors for energy and car, we are not giving you the blueprint, because we've seen this problem with when we released the patents. A lot of people downloaded patent, they never understood it, but it was there. They have a patent. In the future, if they understand, they can do it. Next week, we teach you every day part of the structure of the technology of the blueprint, that you understand it. You just don't copy it like a monkey see, monkey does. And then at the end of the teaching, we give you the blueprint. This time, we make sure you understand that you can make sure you change the structure of the government and the social structure. It's no use me giving a power unit the way we did with our masters. You saw what they did, our masters. It was just taking and going. Oh, it goes on the table. They gave us something like another gift. Disappears because they don't want to lose their position as ambassador. But next week, when we teach you, we said we're going to give the blueprint. This time, we teach you word by word of blueprint. I'm not afraid of competition for the Keshe Foundations around the world. It's 7 billion of you. Look at the structure. I explained this before. You all now have seen the blue box. The blue box will sit like this. 6 blue boxes, 1 for energy, 1 for food, 1 for material, 1 for medicine. One of the units touches the emotion of the man. One unit is for water. You will walk through the system, you absorb the energy of the water, and if your body needs it, replenishes itself. You don't need to go and get a glass of water to drink. So if your body is carrying gallons of water at, let's say, 80%, has enough strength to absorb energy of a system which continuously can feed it plasma of energy. When you drink the water, it doesn't go in your stomach and water goes in your body. The same, there is no difference between digesting food or drinking water. It goes in your digestion system, it changes into the plasma of the gans, boils in your stomach, and then when it goes through your intestine, you release the energy of the H2O, mainly on that level, but it keeps liquidity of the muscles. Now, this will sit on its own. So you don't need to have a water to drink. The system gives you plasmatic gravitational field of water. When you pass it, you receive the energy. Your body creates its own fields from this environment. In a space, we can't carry water, but we can carry that the strength. So you see how the technology will go. This time, you don't walk away ignorant. This time, you walk away with a blueprint well educated. So well educated that you don't need to be abused, but this is how the structure will be. Next week, I teach you line by line. You don't understand, we go back to it 1,000 times till you understand how the blueprint is, what the system does, the way it does, and then if you haven't still understood, we give you the blueprint. Just for your own safety to understand, okay, now I have something in my hand, I've downloaded something. Because this time, you fully will understand. It will not be the mistake of the last time, just downloading and bringing European Patent Office servers down. Hopefully, when we release the blue patent by the following Friday or the week after, when you all understood, nobody will download the print just for sentimentality. I have something which has been given. But I make sure I was spoken with the webmaster that next week will be the week of blueprint. And only one thing, the blue box, nothing else. Because you need to understand why you get the motion. Why to you it looks surprising when all of you haven't understood, you have a new supply system. You have a new energy system. This is why the teaching goes on plasma. You have to understand the work of the plasma, the beauty of plasma, and you can utilize it. Those who are waiting for 26 to get a blueprint and then go and run to see if they can do it, you must be absolutely crazy. Because next week, I teach you how to use it. Step by step, line by line. By Friday or whatever, when I give the blueprint, nobody wants it because you already understood it. This time, then it won't be like, as I said, releasing other technologies. It has to be that way. Then, if you understand that part, you go to the next step. You got to see how energy released. Why do you release energy in a little blue box? And you all say, how many kilowatts does it give? How many people on Friday in the ambassadorial meeting asked me, can you tell us how much does it give? How many kilowatts? If you don't know it, I have to tell you 2 kilowatts because that's your level of understanding. But if you understand it, I have given you the energy of the universe. How much kilowatts sits in the universe? How much of it do you want to use? How much of it do you want to adopt into the structure? I said, I wrote to this webmaster over the weekend. I think you need 40 servers to be able to meet the download when we release the, what do you call it, the blueprint. Because the last time we released the patents 2 years ago, 400 servers were working in the background, just people downloading. So this time you only need 40. Because I make sure you all understand you don't print. How many of you ever went over the patents you've downloaded? A handful of you. But this time, next week, we promise we'll give you the blueprint. Yes. We teach you about the blueprint step by step. There is nothing blue about it and no printing needed. You print it in your brain, you understand it, then you can do whatever you like with it. But we still supply. We plan for 1 million production and 3 million production because the man on the street doesn't understand. The total possible manufacturing capacities around the world which go to produce this thing, let's say, is about 1 million factories altogether. Some who want to price fight, no problem. Governments will stop. So there's 1 million of you and 7 billion of them. Now you see, by the time you become a million manufacturer, is 10 years down the line. But you have another problem because it's not 7 billion, because they need 6 systems. So it's 42 billion of them. So none of you can meet the demand. And on top of it, you don't have the space unit, and you don't have the car unit. Now you see it's 8 of them. Now the total runs to 100 billion. None of us on this planet can meet the demand. Unless, if you need, you can do something for yourself temporarily. Now you see, I'm not afraid of anything. I produce, the Keshe Foundation in Italy will produce 3 million a month. This is our plan. We'll meet it in January. If we increase the production to 3 million a month, means every day we'll produce 100,000 units here in Italy alone. And if we can meet the demand, we still need 10 years before we meet the total demand of Italy. Keshe Foundation manufacturing cannot be the only one. We are asking other Italians to join us. We teach you to do it, that we can all do it, that we can benefit by it faster. So understand what is to come. As I said to the ambassadors, I have given you a noose that you don't know how you're going to hang yourself. Chinese community is 1.5 billion. No little man anywhere can cover 1.5 billion, if I'm correct. Yeah? With multiplied by 10, now you see the game. How many factories in China have to work day and night just to meet the demand of the nation, when I have a clear air, food, water, and everything else? Water is the biggest problem for China. Water conversion is what has made South American countries rich from China. If you go back to history in past 10 years, you see, as I've said this before, Argentina was a bankrupt nation. And out of nowhere, they borrowed huge amount from World Bank, and suddenly, in 2 or 3 years' time, they said they have paid all their debts to World Bank, MFI. They have nothing, no debts. And everyone was puzzled. How can a bankrupt nation suddenly pay all the debts? There was a key player, China. China is short of water, drought, and desert is moving towards Beijing. It's not very far. Beijing is not very far from the desert, which is moving in this direction. Chinese authorities, no. So what they've done, they don't have enough water. They rented land, bought rain in Argentina to produce soya that they could feed the nation, that they could stay calm. Long-term plan. And what they did, they paid Argentina in one go in advance. And Argentina paid the World Bank in one go in advance. Everybody's happy. Nobody's robbing no one. So if you can create water in China at the level you need, if you can put the seeds through the process of conversion that they don't need any water, they absorb moisture from the air, you have solved the problem of China with water, part of it. This is a problem in Ethiopia. Now, I'm working in a direction in the background that we can create seeds, nano-coated, in a level that anywhere in Ethiopia, with no rain, we can cultivate, because the nano layer of the plasma, the same as the coating on your wire, can absorb moisture from the air and the seed can grow. So there is no mystery. Understand the plasma, then you don't ask the question why the timing is changed, because you have a new mixture. You have a new fuel you didn't know, it's called plasma. And you will see a lot of magics like this, unless you start working on the plasma, understanding it. There is no magic. As we say, the cat is out of the bag. So it's your cat, how you want to play it. And understand from now on, when you see change in energy consumption and you're using a nanomaterial, nano-coated or a GaNs or a plasma, it's you who's put it there, you forgot. So that little wire on the cable of your battery, it's not magic. It means you haven't understood. And I'll stand back and I'll say, when these children are going to understand? Because you have put the most powerful magnetic field. This is what you never understood, huh? This 99%. It means the energy of water in there, the energy of acid in the battery, the energy of the plastic in there, the energy of the conversion in there, because it absorbs everything. That's why it's so black. Where does it go? If you don't take it, it's going to explode itself. So it releases it into the system. And you're happy, wow, we got free energy. No, you don't have a free energy. You have a new energy system. You have a new fuel. And if you look at it, it's just, it's correct. It balances itself, and that's what it shows itself. So next time your timing doesn't tune, remember, I was a fool. I never thought I put a new fuel in. A few years ago, for efficiency and noise, they used to add lead into the fuel. Now it's taking it off. Then we went for diesel. Now we're going to hybrid. Now we're going plasma. And in a very, very near future, it's a matter of weeks, because I know the research I'm helping in the background, you have cars without engines. Because now you convert the energy of the plasma without intervention of a motor. And I explained to you about the car system here. Next time when you say it reduces the power, my fuel reduced, just remember, I didn't understand. I forgot I put money in the tank. But this tank doesn't need any payment. You understand? This is important, especially for our Chinese delegation. When you go to China, explain to your leaders what is there. They don't look at it as a magic. If they understand the principle, they can act on it, because they can measure to understand where the reduction is coming. Then the Chinese government supports you to commercialize very rapidly. If you just give them a unit and say, this is this, you don't understand the science, because they make opposition to it from the beginning, then you have a big job to go up climb the hill. But if you say that day, this is a new plasma, this is what happens, you solve your problem. You find collaboration very rapid within the Chinese government. Carry on, sorry about that. No more.
Mr. Keshe, this is Enrique. I would like to ask you something. We have a case, now that you are explaining this magnificent change of view and looking into plasma. We have the experience in the house of one of the experimenters, Rene Pavlovich, who built this Alex system and put it in his home, and it worked fine. It was he used it for almost 2 months, saving 70% of the energy from the system, from the grid. And then he took it out. He took it out and put it in the sister's house. But what happened in his house is that the system kept running, and he was saving the same amount of energy without the equipment, without the energy, the Alex system. What does it mean? Is it that the plasma is there and work?
No, the thing is, this goes back to what we explained some times ago. When you give birth to a child and you leave the child, let's say in Italy, and the mother goes to Australia, doesn't mean there is no connection.
Yeah, I know that.
Because what happens when you use these systems, you forgot one thing, and I explained this very recently. And I think in the talks in Rome, we explained this, is when you use the system, beads or whatever, and you have run it in the house for 2 months or 3 months, you have plasma nano-coated the wires in the house. This plasma nano-coating is the next step in the industrial process. I was in the factory group yesterday morning in Rome explaining to our people that don't look for caustic, don't look for electric current flow. You have to use the blue box's energy to nano-coat the wires. Because, as I said, when you see it, you've seen it here with Armin, and we've seen it with Alex and other tests. When we connect our beads or our units, the wires become black. So if your friend goes and checks somewhere in the house, even if you don't see it, if you can find a clear copper wire and compare it with the wire somewhere in the winding, if it's not black, it'll be a slightly tinted darker color, means your system already has established a line with a bead. It's irrelevant where you take the bead, magnetic field of entities never changes. Doesn't matter where you take the magnet. I have two magnets here. These are together. This is the mother. If I give one to somebody here and give the other one to go to Australia, or I give it to Dr. Van Dorp, I have to remember that name. It's my mother's-in-law name. I love my mother-in-law as much as she loves me. So it's what happens. It goes still to New Zealand, but it's still connected. So what you've done, your system, doesn't matter you removed, it still uses it. And because it has access to the universal energy, doesn't matter where you take it. The fridge demands it, you still supply it. The freezer demands it, the little boy turns the light on, it's still on it. If you have managed to nano-coat the whole lot is connected to the mother. These are just umbilical cords transferring energy and information. We talked about the umbilical cord, and Dr. Clears just jumps on the phone. Yes, microphone is going off. You got to hit it on the head first. It's a naughty boy.
Yeah, no.
It's
You
great.
didn't hit it hard enough.
It's very clear. Thank you. Thank you. It's very powerful.
Okay. No, I was just wondering then that if you actually attach one of those blue boxes to your house and let it nano-coat the wires in your house, then you can take the blue box away and it still works. Is that correct?
You're not supposed to give a secret away yet. I mentioned it on a touch in the ambassadorial meeting. 1 unit is enough for a village. It becomes the house of temple. People who carry these and they keep it in their houses, they become like a house of. They're going to have a fight who's going to have the grandma for the weekend. People want this unit to be in their house because now from their house the whole village gets energy. You wait and see. This was done centuries ago. Man forgot. If you look in Zoroastrian houses, we carry the light. In fact, it was long before the system which was given to mankind, and mankind forgot. So, in a time to come, people will worship these because it's their sense of the creation and life, and it'll go the same way because if you need it, it'll be there to use. It gives you light, it gives you life, it gives you everything you need. This morning, I was talking to our team, and I explained something very strange. And I received a text this morning while I was teaching. It's right, it works. I explained this to you next week when we do the blueprint. Now, you all been waiting for a generator, and we gave you a power supply. But you'll find out very soon we'll give you the generator with the same power supply. I'll explain this when we come to the, what do you call it, the blueprint week, next week, when we explain this. This time around, I make sure nobody is left behind. There's no use somebody else who doesn't understand to come and explain the work of the blue box. We explain every detail in it. You understand every reason for it. Then, if you still forgot, there is a blueprint which has no meaning at the bottom of it. You can use copper wire. You can use a root of a tree. You still get the same result. In Africa, we don't need to look for copper wires or whatever. Yesterday, I was with the head of the Ghana Space Institute, and I said to Dr. Nana, the root of the trees are as good as anything else. You don't need to import. Coconuts are a better container for the plasma reactors than the plastic systems we create. The only thing is, as I said to her yesterday, if you understand, this is your coconut, fill it up with all the ganses of every need of man, and just put a cup in it and drink the water of the cup. The coconut will give you life forever because you don't change the gans. You drink the water of the energy of it. Africa, as of yesterday, is free of energy and food because we explained to her what is got to be done in Ghana, and Benjamin will follow it. So when I showed you the coconut, you were all waiting for reactor. But if you understand what you can carry, no one needs a fancy cups, a beautiful water bottle. You have a coconut, you can fill it up with everything as you go along, and against it, you add to all the energy you need. This is the change of course for humanity, but you have to understand what it'll bring to humanity. Would we leave these bottles when they go out of the gans on the farms and lands in Africa for lions to drink from it and forget they are eating an animal? Would we hang them across the Sahara or Sabina that every animal can take his energy without eating the other one? It's a beautiful time coming if you understand it. So if you moved, you haven't changed. All it is, now you understand how the fields work. So next time, when you add a little wire and it's surprising, or you put it in a little pen and you see it's a healing power, forget, absorbs 99.9999% of all the energy in the universe. So when you need it, it gives you where you need it. Doesn't matter if it's the cancer, headache, or hunger. If you can point these pen pads into water or leave it in a container of water, it gives you all the energy you need to drink. It's not just a medicine, it's food. Medicine is part of the structure of the food. When you get these pens, which we released 10,000 on the first week of November, drop the pen in a cup and drink from it. Leave part of it out, part of it in. It absorbs your emotion, what you need. It leaves to the cup, and you take from the cup what you need and takes what you don't need. So when you look at the pen pads, these are the fountain of life. You decide what you want from it. Yesterday, I was explaining to Caroline, if they let me do what I want to do, and when you get the blue box, turn it upside down in a container of water and drink the water. It gives you everything you need. You think I'm going to build you 6 different units for food and water? Because inside is nanomaterial. It absorbs all the energies you need and radiates all the things you need. So turn it upside down. We're trying to make it totally waterproof. 3 times yesterday, I was going to explain to Caroline, and she said something else. This is fully the same as here inside. If this can reduce 60% the energy for motion, God forbid, you know how big that is inside. Understand the work of plasma. You don't need to work and live on a matter state. Any other question?
Not for now, Mr. Keshe. Thank you very much. This is a great teaching. I'm happy that it is in this workshop. I wonder if we can translate all these. We didn't want to interrupt, but it's a great teaching, great knowledge. Thank you very much. We are honored. Joseph,
Sí.
¿quieres hacer un resumen más que recorrer todo? Porque la conclusión es muy grande.
Pues sí, respecto a la cuestión de los vehículos, lo que nos explica es que tenemos que entender que estamos metiendo un segundo combustible que es el plasma, y ya no es un sistema de gasolina, ¿no? Entonces, el plasma te da la energía que requieres. Ese es uno de los principios. Lo que tenemos que aprender es cómo regularlo y usarlo. O sea, eventualmente la gasolina pues, no se va a requerir. Lo que va a ser necesario es aprender a usar la energía del plasma. Tenemos que entender que es un sistema híbrido. El que estamos instalando es gasolina con plasma y obviamente pues el plasma te va a entregar la energía que requieres. La verdad es que pues si esto es como se está planteando, pues lo que vamos la conclusión a la que llegamos es que la gasolina va a tender a desaparecer. Habría que ver cómo hacerle para que el motor funcione con la menor gasolina posible o con puro plasma. En cuanto a los carros de gasolina, ahora los carros híbridos, lo que dice, pues realmente cuando haces una instalación como la que hizo Mario, eventualmente lo único que vas a lograr es que las baterías se conviertan en generadores de plasma y el carro pues no necesite gasolina, sino funcione con el motor eléctrico. Ese es mi entendimiento respecto a los carros. Todo lo demás, pues realmente se resume a que pues debemos de comprender que
Permíteme, antes de que dejes los coches, nos dijo algo todavía más grande, según entendí yo, que es que en el fondo no se van a necesitar el motor. El plasma va a ir a estimular el movimiento directamente de las ruedas, etcétera, ¿no? Y que pues el motor no va a tener una función en sí, porque estamos todavía pensando en términos físicos, mecánicos, que tenemos que superar esto. Esa sería, digamos, la gran observación para Mario, y le va a ampliar su visión de la tecnología al pensar que estamos usando una nueva energía que, bueno, no es nueva, ella ha estado siempre, pero no la sabíamos bajar, y ahora la estamos aprendiendo a bajar, y que muchos de los mecanismos que hemos usado en esta tercera dimensión, pues son apropiados para la conciencia vieja, pero en la nueva conciencia de que está el plasma y que nosotros lo dirigimos con la mente, van a venir pues aplicaciones más sencillas que vamos a poder vivir en el plasma, alimentándonos con todo lo que nos explicó después. Adelante con el resto, por favor, pero esta me parece una conclusión muy interesante.
Sí, y en la otra parte, pues, lo que nos dice es debemos de recordar que pues, realmente el plasma es la fuente de energía universal. Y hizo una observación importante respecto a la parte de alimentación. dice que si nosotros llenamos, él mencionó un coco por cuestiones de África, porque si llenamos un coco con GANs y dentro ponemos un contenedor con agua, que no esté en contacto directo, o sea, que el agua no se contamine con GANs, sino un contenedor que esté en contacto con los GANs, pero el agua permanezca aislada, y tomamos esa agua, estaremos alimentándonos. O sea, ¿por qué? Porque estamos tomando la energía que pasa de los GANs, la energía de plasma que pasa de los GANs y se la pasa al agua. Entonces, realmente, esa es una manera de estarse alimentando y no se va a requerir pues más alimento, ¿no? Esa es una de las cosas que es eh, en lo particular captó mi atención. Y el corolario es, pues debemos de aprender a utilizar la energía del plasma, porque está en el universo y es la que nos puede proporcionar todo lo que necesitemos para vivir.
Ok. Sí,
¿Algo más?
sí, como no, hay mucho, porque nos dijo muchísimas cosas.
Sí,
Este workshop hay que oírlo y anotar. Pero pues me pareció muy importante cuando dibuja la, la bobina, el alambre en espiral, y dice que ahí es donde se está generando al pasar, a meterlo en el tanque de gasolina o en donde sea, ahí se están generando el plasma, ahí se está desprendiendo el plasma y es el que se va a usar. Que esto es tan importante que se puede hacer ahorros grandes de la gasolina o del combustible, pero también de la contaminación. Nos dice que los tanques, los buques que le llaman tankers, los de carga, esos son los que están contaminando más que los propios coches, porque usan una gasolina de muy bajo octanaje y que, bueno, yo entendía octanaje, pero que es tal la cantidad de gasolina que utilizan esos motores de combustible, que si se sustituye por el entendimiento de los GANs, el ahorro en contaminación o la no contaminación va a ser muy importante como una de las partes. También le pregunté sobre el caso de nuestro amigo René Pavlovich, que tiene una experiencia que nos causó mucha sorpresa a todos los del grupo latinoamericano, que es que puso un sistema de collares de unidades tipo Alex en su casa, le resultó muy bien, lo tiene, por cierto, ahí en su página de Facebook y también la pusimos nosotros en la de Latinoamérica. Le redujo, por casi 2 meses lo tuvo puesto, le redujo 70% del costo de la energía. Incluso fueron a verlo de la compañía de energía para ver qué había hecho, y cuando vieron lo que había hecho, pues le dijeron, ah, pues qué bueno que lo hizo, ¿verdad? Pero creían que se estaba poniendo un diablito o algo. Pero quitó el equipo, quitó el reactor, digamos, de los collares, para llevárselos a la casa de la hermana y a ver qué pasaba. Pero ¿qué sucedió? En su casa siguió funcionando el efecto del generador, siguió sin tenerlo conectado, siguió recibiendo su factura por el 30% de lo que consumía normalmente. Y le pregunté si era porque el plasma estaba metido en la casa. Sí, sí se mete, sí se pone, si se dejan 2, 3 meses los cables y todo, la instalación, la casa misma puede volverse parte del sistema porque se plasma el plasma, digamos, pero me dice que no, que pensemos en términos de energía plasmática, de que el sistema, si, aunque se lo llevó a la casa de la hermana, sigue en relación con la instalación de su casa. Es la figura del 8, el infinito que pone ahí, está en conexión sin importar la distancia. Puede estar en Nueva Zelanda, puede estar en donde sea, la conexión está establecida. Y esto lo entiendo yo bien porque yo hago sanaciones con energía plasmática como sanador de energía a distancia. Le hizo una precisamente a René y a gente que está en otras partes del mundo. Yo lo puedo sanar desde mi casa. Y es que se establece esa conexión. Esto tiene un poder enorme, enorme, enorme. Requiere la intención, obviamente, pero había esta intención en la casa de René Pavlovich, de ver qué pasaba, ¿verdad? Y de dejar compartir el beneficio con la casa de la hermana. Este es un efecto muy importante de que nos dice que no veamos a la caja azul como que, bueno, todo el mundo estaba esperando un generador de la energía libre y que, bueno, lo que están sacando la fundación es un power unit, una unidad de poder, que no es un generador, pero que en el fondo tiene todo lo necesario para sacar todas las aplicaciones que se le quisieran. Puso el caso de que se necesitarían 6 y luego 8 para que uno sacara el agua, otro sacara la salud, otro sacara los alimentos, otro la energía, etcétera. Pero nos dice que en realidad, entendiendo bien, se va a necesitar solo uno. Y nos puso precisamente el dibujo que está a la derecha arriba, en donde nos dice, cuando estábamos haciendo el nanorecubrimiento, está la materia, está los nanopartículas en el nanorecubrimiento, pero afuera está el 99,99999 de toda la energía, porque es toda la energía universal. Y lo que estamos haciendo es atrayendo, digamos que decantando o downloading, como decimos, toda la energía que se requiera y se puede aguantar por la demanda, ¿verdad? Entonces estamos viendo que el manejo de la energía que vamos a hacer en el mundo al aprender más de esta tecnología, al irla, digamos, dominando en nuestro entender y en nuestras aplicaciones, ahí está es la energía, él llama universal, yo le llamo la energía creativa, y también pues, es la universal, el universo tiene toda la energía y lo va decantando según pues, la misma creación nos lo dice, y nos lo dice, con esa energía original del universo se ha hecho todo, planetas, gentes, vida, cosas, coches, etcétera, o también salud, habilidades parapsicológicas, todo esto está hecho de lo mismo. Lo que estamos aprendiendo con esta maravillosa exposición que nos ha dado Mr. Keshe, es decirnos cómo lo podemos usar, cómo lo tenemos que aprender a usar. Y nos dice que la próxima semana se va a llamar la semana del blueprint, o sea, que nos va a explicar todo lo que está contenido en lo que sería el respaldo de lo que sería una patente de la caja azul, donde dice cómo se hace, cómo se usa, etcétera, pero que no va a ser necesario que lo pidamos, porque si no vamos a saturar todo el mundo. Lo que va a hacer antes de soltarlo, antes de liberarlo, es explicarnos todas las bases de este manejo maravilloso del conocimiento que nos trae el señor Keshe. Esa es la parte del gran científico que él es y que nos trae, es lo que nos va a explicar a todo detalle, sin que haya ninguna laguna en todo, y así que nos recomienda que estemos atentos a todas las presentaciones que va a hacer durante la semana próxima. Esto es algo que tenemos que tomar muy en cuenta y tenemos que borrar muchas cosas de las que hemos visto anteriormente se van a usar, pero un poco quedan, como decíamos en el grupo latinoamericano, decíamos, quedan un poco como el museo histórico, porque realmente con el brinco a la caja azul y con estos conceptos que estamos teniendo, las propias experiencias de Mario, están ahí metidas el conocimiento, es lo nuevo, es la cosa que se va a seguir desarrollando, como nos dijo el viernes. Va a haber nuevas versiones, más pequeñas, va a haber nuevas configuraciones, incluso sin necesidad de conectarlo a una red, etcétera. Pero el conocimiento fundamental es este conocimiento del plasma. Si pues, queremos traducirlo a que el plasma es en realidad la energía del universo, como él lo dice, entendámoslo así, pero el chiste es cómo nos volvemos creadores de materia a través, o de energía y de materia a través de este conocimiento, y esto es muy, muy poderoso, es lo que yo entiendo. Hay muchos detalles que dijo y pues no habrá más que volver a escuchar y escuchar y nada más. Y muchas gracias al señor Keshe. Si tú tienes algo más, Eric, o tú, Mario, perdón, Joseph, Mario.
No, pues creo que complementaste y expandiste mucho de lo que dijo al final Mr. Keshe. No sé, Mario, que
No, pues agradecer al señor Keche por las, por las, pues todos los conocimientos que él nos ha regalado y decirle también a Mr. Keche que estamos muy agradecidos con él, con las aplicaciones de la salud que nos ha ido muy bien y y con las aplicaciones energéticas, ¿no? Que estamos trabajando en ellas, nada más agradecerle infinitamente por regalarnos esta tecnología.
Okay. Tú le das las gracias, mi Joseph, por favor.
okay.
For today.
Thank you. Mario says that he wants to thank you for all the knowledge being given. And well, we will keep working and trying to assimilate all the knowledge that you've been giving to us.
And Mario wants to say also thank you because the applications in health he's doing many applications in health are becoming great. He's a healer actually with this technology now, and he's happy and he thanks you very, very much for this great knowledge. And so do we, and we feel lucky that you said it in this Spanish-speaking workshop. Thank you very much. We will have to go over the video once at a time, and we will be waiting for the week of the blueprint. And I wonder if we could know in which workshop will you be teaching this.
Thank you very much. We try. What if you notice we try to do, we don't make everything to be only taught during the what are called Thursday morning workshops that is exclusive to English speaking. As you raise points in different Chinese or Spanish or other points, we try to teach equal. So you raise the point and try to explain it because this is something which we already consider we are working. And I hope it's very interesting to see to people to come and listen to the Spanish or the Chinese sessions, that they learn that they miss more here than they miss on the other side if they miss it. So people just don't go to special teaching, they go to cross all the teaching. Somebody wrote to
That's ideal.
I start learning from the children's program because that's my understanding.
Very well, very well. Congratulations again, and thank you.
Very well. We go back to the health teaching, and we have Dr. Carrios with us.
Bueno, amigos, let me say goodbye to the Spanish-speaking people. Amigos de habla hispana, muchas gracias. Joseph, ¿quieres hacer la despedida, por favor?
Bueno, pues agradecemos mucho a todos los que nos han estado escuchando. El próximo martes creo que dos o 3 horas más tarde de lo habitual. Hoy empezamos tarde, pero el próximo martes también esperamos estar con ustedes.
A las 10 de México.
a las 10 hora de México, del México Centro, de la ciudad. Y pues bueno, agradecerles a todos los que nos han escuchado y también a aquellos que pues están de alguna u otra manera en contacto con nosotros y han compartido sus experiencias y sus conocimientos, que a final de cuentas de eso se trata, de que la comunidad comparta experiencias y conocimientos adquiridos para que esto pues pueda expandirse y obviamente mejorar día a día. ¿Algo más que agradecer? ¿Algo más que decir, Enrique? Bueno,
No, gracias, gracias. Vámonos.
pues thank you, Rick.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Rick. Thank you, Vince.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you, Sander.
Great presentation. Lots of information came out there. It's very good. Okay. That'll be the end of the 31st Spanish Speaking Knowledge Seekers Workshop for October 20th, 2015. And once again, thank you everybody for attending. Okay, we'll end this recording.
Are we going to the teaching on the
record.
outside?
Yes, let me stop this live stream
Today
and we'll start a new
today is
one.
the exam day. Now we understand.